Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
You're gonna be made men. But when you're made by me, nobody can touch you.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic, episode, what is
185.
it? Just what I was going to say.
I know.
And this episode we are reviewing the charming little gangster vampire horror comedy called Innocent Blood.
Yes.
1992.
Where is the picture on this video?
The year I graduated high school. I feel old now. Yeah?
Let me tell you. This movie? A fucking doozy? Huh?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I mean, uh-huh.
All I get, once again, we have a film that really is very fair and positive when it comes to portraying Italian Americans.
Oh, yeah.
You're Italian, right?
A little bit.
Let me ask you a question. Is there an Italian gangster film that doesn't involve a scene where gangsters are walking through a kitchen? Does that exist? Does that exist? Because all I could think of when that happened was like, well, it's Italian gangsters. Of course we're going to have a kitchen scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to avoid the kitchen in any film, almost, but...
No, I disagree totally, and
I
specifically
don't
like a
think so.
restaurant kitchen.
Wow, that's a
I'm not
given.
saying like somebody
in
I'm not
a
saying
mafia
somebody's
film.
house.
That's a given, and the reason being is most of these
That's my point.
mob guys own the fucking place. So,
And it's never just we're in the kitchen. It's always been that long pan shot. We're just
right.
Don't get me wrong. That's not the only cliche thing about the gangsters in this film.
No.
I actually think the film did more to dispel myths about vampires than it did to dispel myths about Italian American heritage.
Wow.
I mean, I can't think of one thing that that Loggia or what's the other guy?
Vincent LaPaglia.
Well, no, I was thinking of Chaz Palminteri. All of
Okay.
them. There's nothing they do that's different than any other gangster film. However, the vampire in this film is a little different because she can see her own reflection. She doesn't like to. And,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of main problems with what they did as far as
the problems.
the
It's just
vampires.
different. I wouldn't say problems. I actually like the idea. I like the idea of taking the mythology that they can't see their reflection to the idea of when you're that kind of creature, you don't like to look at yourself. So it's like I liked that. I thought there was a cute little twist on it.
I'm talking about just like, they tried to keep some of the mythos of them, how they die in some scenes, but then in others, it's like, no, we're not going to go by that at all.
Well, I disagree, I think. I think they kept the sunlight and they kept the garlic, but now you can kill a vampire just by severing the spinal column or shooting him in the head.
No, I'm sorry. No.
Huh, why not?
Because it looks stupid.
What looks stupid?
Just
What
them
part?
getting... Well, it all looks stupid. But just...
Wait.
Okay, I'm going to break your neck, you're going to die. So that means a good fall off a roof can do the same thing. Yet they're made out to be immortal in the film.
Well, no, they're not made out to be immortal in the film because she keeps killing them by just breaking their necks.
No, well...
Robert Loggia thinks he's immortal, but that's because he thought he was immortal before he died.
Well, yes.
There wasn't really much of an attitude adjustment towards humility with him coming back from the dead and gaining supernatural powers. This is also true. They really kind of show a little bit that they heal fast. Gunshots don't do anything unless it's in the head for some reason. One scene where they're going to have sex, he gets a condom. Why? It's just little things like that. Because he's a gentleman, that's why. Fuck that. All right? And the fact that she has probably the worst acting skills I've ever seen. And she's French. She is so... I know. I love La Femme Nikita. You know why? Because she spoke fucking French. All right? In this, she's speaking English. And you could tell that half the shit she's saying, she doesn't understand what's coming out of her own mouth. That's I'm cool one. With that. Okay. Cool. Wait. Two, hold on. They have the amazing idea to let her narrate the movie. All right. Well, that's a negative. You knew I was going to agree with you on that because I'm against narration, and 90% of films they have narration. So yes, that is obviously a negative aspect. But she's narrating the movie. Yeah, I never play with the food. Shut up. Now, am I getting the sense that you didn't like this film? Cause coming on strong. I just want to make sure I'm reading it right. That's all. Because so far, I'm getting the feeling that you're a little angry about the movie. I challenged it to you, and I've seen this before several times. No, I didn't. I don't like the movie, but I don't hate the movie. Let's go there. Because I actually, as far as vampire films go, I enjoyed this. Did you really? I really did. All I can think of. Here's all I can think of. Let's put it this way: I'm trying to find a high def copy of this, and there isn't anywhere. So let's just to let you know that I do want to add this to my film collection. Now, let's be fair. It is a low budget '90s film. Actually, I thought the budget was a little high for this. I thought I read that. All right, because it's John Landis. All right, yeah, it's low budget for a Hollywood big name. I mean, he might have got more money if he didn't kill people. Yeah, it depends on which way you look at it. I'm looking at it a low budget, as in this isn't like this isn't a huge budget. It's a small film. What did it cost? I don't know, but it shows it's not a big budget film. It's a small horror film. Okay. Yeah, they blew their wad on the Don Rickles scene, which was great. It was good. I really liked. I love Don Rickles. And there's a lot of cameos in here by directors: Sam Raimi, Argento, who in between. Frank Oz. Man, I have problems with Argento. Frank Oz. Well, when he's rubbing Don Rickles' head, he's like rubbing it. Oh, it's okay. You'll be all right. And I'm like, that's fucking Argento, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, of course it is. Fucking creep. Wow. Honey, time for your rape scene. Yeah, Linnea Quigley was in here. Linnea, also, during the, and I didn't see this. I was looking down the cast and I saw, because at a certain point I'm like, okay, every other person in this film is a cameo. Let me just run through the cast list. Right. Terry Weigel was one of the dancers at the strip club at the end. Really? Yeah. If anyone's ever watched Terry Weigel porn, that's basically her entire scene. It's obnoxious. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like her a lot, but it's like if I was the guy on top, I'd be like, "Is this happening? Is this real? Is this really happening right now?" Because this seems a little over the top. I'm glad to say I did not pick her out of the lineup. I read about it. I did not recognize her. I didn't recognize her either. That's going. That's we got something going for us on that.
Yeah. Now, talk to me when this movie was made. I probably would have been, that's Terry Weigel.
Now,
I guarantee it.
As far as vampire films from this time period, this is not that bad. It's obviously not going for. It's going for like a kind of a PG-13 comedy horror, and I think it succeeds in that. It's nowhere near as bad as something like Daybreakers. And I think this film's right on par, except maybe a bit lighter than, say, one of my other favorite vampire films from the late 80s, early 90s, Vamp.
I love Vamp.
Yeah, so I mean that's 80s obviously, but I think it's in that same vein, and I enjoyed it for that. Now, obviously, there's issues. The voiceover.
Oh, so bad.
Luis Guzman's always good in anything.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, yeah. The acting's not the best. I don't think anybody in this film is outreaching for an Oscar. Now, but Loggia.
Maybe Robert Loggia is.
Maybe, dude. All I can.
I am the power.
During the second half of this film, all I can imagine is here's a guy who plays gangsters and heavies for most of his films.
Right.
And all I can imagine him is like calling people saying, I'm going to play a vampire. Yeah! They called me, so you want to play a vampire? I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds great. I haven't played a vampire before.
No, it went more like this. Yeah, I'll play a vampire. Yeah, you talk to Robert.
I like to think that Robert Loggia, the actor, was excited about playing as a vampire, as Sally McKelly, the gangster he plays, was excited about being a real vampire. I think there's that same level of energy there.
Did you say McKelly?
McKelly? Michelli?
It's
what is it?
He turned into it's like an Irish Italian way to say his name. McKelly. Hey, McKelly. I couldn't be made because I was half Irish.
I apologize for insulting your people.
No, you're not.
You're right.
I know.
I really, it's there's just something about the way he acts in the film. It's like, yeah, he dug the shit out of this. He really did.
He's
like, I'm playing a vampire. Yeah.
And I bet he just goes to Landis. Give me more meat, more raw meat. You know, it'd be great if I ate it frozen and run it under some hot water in the stove. Yeah.
Wow. Now, speaking of cameos, one that caught me off guard is I was reading through some of the trivia and the cameo lists and everything, and it mentioned that...
there is one more that I forgot, and you might be mentioning him now.
Oh, go ahead. What?
Tom Savini.
Oh, no, that I wasn't going to mention him, but yeah, Tom Savini's in there. He plays the photographer in 2 scenes.
Yep.
Now, one that caught me off guard is I was reading it, and I was reading about how Landis picked some of the people from this film because he saw them in other movies.
Okay.
And specifically, Kim Coates, he picked because he saw him earlier in The Last Boy Scout.
Oh, right.
Now, the name didn't click. So I'm like, oh, all right, let me look. So I'm watching the film. It's like, all right, I recognize that guy. Oh, I know him. He's the one that Bruce Willis kills in the middle of The Last Boy Scout. He's like, boom, baby, yeah! And like he punches his bone through his brain. Like, oh, I recognize him. It's like, but why do I recognize him? I didn't. It just didn't click because he looks so young in those 2 films that he plays Tigger in Sons of Anarchy.
That's right. He's a veteran. He's been around a really long time.
Well, I didn't recognize him as that young. I mean, he aged hard, not bad, hard. Like he's wearing the years.
Well, yeah. I mean, he gets the characters Robert Loggia can get now, or used to get. All the heavies. So,
but that was interesting because I was weird that I recognized him from Last Boy Scout, but not from Sons of Anarchy, one of his most recent things. So that was.
He was also in a film only a couple of years ago called Goon, which is a hockey film that I love. He played the coach. Great film. I mean, let's put it this way: it is a hockey movie, but it's the type of movie that even if you're not into sports or even the sport, you love that. You love that movie. You do. It's got so much character. Great film. Funny too. So it's got a lot going for it. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
So that's a different challenge altogether.
But
So-
I mean, we're glossing over. I mean, the basic plot of the film is a vampire film. We meet this chick at the beginning. She's a vampire. She only feeds on guilty people.
Yeah, she's like the Dexter of vampires.
Or the vampire Lestat of vampires, whichever one you want.
Sure.
I don't even know if I got the character right. It's one of the characters in Vampire Lestat. I don't give a fuck. Don't like the books. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
I'm not a real big vampire genre guy anyway. Like you said, Vamp. There's a
yeah.
couple that,
Vamp,
this one
Near
is okay with me. Vamp, I love fucking Vamp.
Vamp, Near Dark.
Near Dark. Which Near Dark is a whole different type of vampire film, even though it still is.
We'll have to list our favorite vampire films after we're done. But yeah, so
I think we just did.
She only drinks the blood of bad guys, and then she makes sure she severs the heads so they don't come back. She's interrupted with Robert Loggia. He ends up coming back and decides he wants to start his own vampire gangster squad. She befriends the undercover cop that is now trying to track down Loggia. They track down Loggia. They kill Loggia. So spoiler alert. Sorry. The thing that makes the film worth watching is Robert Loggia and Don Rickles. And all these other people and the gangsters becoming vampires, and just like the humor involved. It's really it's my favorite scene is still when Robert Loggia wakes up in the morgue when Frank Oz is about to perform the autopsy. I thought that scene was hilarious. I mean, it's almost slapstick in the way he's like running around. Like, I need to call my lawyer. It's,
If he had only stopped, dropped, and rolled.
But I mean, the film had its charm. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was fun. I would watch it for fun.
That's not what I was going for. I thought you would hate. I mean, I don't hate this movie. In a lot of ways, I do like it, but I do have my problems with it. But you know, I still don't think they should have killed them that way with the whole. Oh, I'm going to shoot you in the head. I'm going to just, I'm going to break your neck. It seemed kind of cheap to me.
Well, it's I don't know about cheap. They just put it down a bit more. I mean, when you don't have the budget to like have superhuman fights, with unkillable characters, you really want to tone it down a bit. Okay, well, if they're nigh invulnerable, but if you break their necks or shoot them in the head, they die. Of course, the problem is they're very fast and they're very strong. So it's a challenge just to get close enough to shoot them in the head or break their necks. So I think it's kind of a fair trade.
How about shoot him in the heart? Don't use a stake if you don't want to go cliche.
I thought he was gonna. At the one when that bat first appears near the end, I'm like, wooden bat gonna get broken in half. Someone's gonna get impaled on it. Doesn't happen. He even breaks the bat, and I'm like, oh, now he sticks it in somebody's chest. No, it's almost like they were like Landis was teasing. It's like, you thought I was gonna do that. Yeah, I mean,
maybe he's just tired of killing people.
Yeah, and also if you're not going for like a hard R like Dusk Till Dawn, maybe you don't want to have to get so violent where you're when you're really doing horrible things. Well,
I'll tell you, it's films like this is the reason why Dusk Till Dawn was made like hard like that, because there were so many films up until that point that were kind of like this, where it was a little soft. It's a vampire genre, and they don't go that extra, with it. It's not as gory, like you said. It's a lower budget, so they can't do certain things. So when they finally get to a film like From Dusk Till Dawn, which was made only 6 years after this, budgets were better, special effects were a lot better. They could do more things, and of course you got Tarantino and Rodriguez doing it, so they're coming into their own, and they just wanted to make a horror film. So it kind of set the bar high when From Dusk Till Dawn came out.
Okay, now you've also got to keep in mind that we're talking about 92, so we're just coming in on the tail end of the anti-horror film movement that really gutted, the horror film industry, where you couldn't make a violent film and get it past the MPAA, and you had like Morton Downey Jr. and all these other shows just blaming horror films and comic books and music for all the ills of society. So you've got that too. Also take into consideration that, with the exception maybe of An American Werewolf in London, Landis is not a very hard horror film type guy. He makes light films. Spies Like Us, Three Amigos, Blues Brothers, Animal House. This is not a hardcore horror film guy.
No.
I'm actually
Except for
surprised.
Twilight Zone turned into a snuff movie.
Well, I mean, even Twilight
bastard.
Zone was like that dark moments, but it was still meant to be like a family movie to an extent. I mean, it's not really his genre to go hard horror film. I'm not surprised at all that he did something that was this kind of had this light feel to it. I mean, what else has he done besides American Werewolf in London? I mean, what else has he done that's dark in any sense of the way?
Nothing. No.
Yeah, I'm looking down the list.
I mean, you mentioned American Werewolf in London. I think that's as dark as it got.
I mean, Beverly Hills Cop 3, that's pretty dark, but on a whole different level. That's that's neither here nor there.
Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm only curious for later.
Yes.
We talked about what we're going to review next week, but do
Yes.
you have a challenge for me off of this for when we're done with what we plan on doing in the future?
I kind of don't, and here's the reason why. We're
Okay.
getting into the horror October, and I
Yes.
think we should be reviewing horror films specifically.
Well, it
So
is
I wanted
October, but yes.
What?
I
Pardon?
said it is October, but yes.
That's what I'm saying. We're getting into October.
Getting in kind of doesn't mean we're in, but
What's today's date?
today's October 1st.
We're getting into October.
Okay.
All right. We good with that?
We're good. We agree that it's October.
Okay. So I think we should concentrate on horror films, and I figure I was gonna, and that's gonna be the link for the whole month. It's just gonna be horror films. So I don't think we have to go with anything special with the challenges because we know we're doing horror films.
So we're just going to work off of next week's challenge, and then I'll challenge something to you after that.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's
Okay.
it's but I mean, I just figured, oh, I saw this. It's a horror film. I want to review it. Let's do that. There's the connection. I'm sure I could come up with I guarantee I could come up with 2 or 3 different connections between the two films. But at the moment, I'm just going to go with their horror films.
No problem.
All right.
That works for me. All right. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and God, and there's like you can't even number the different branches you could take off the challenge from this film. This film is open between cameos and everything else. Forget it. Why even bother?
Just the fact that there's 4 different directors alone making cameos.
You could link this to any film that we would review by like 1 separation, let alone like
easy.
7. So,
Just even Tom Savini's career, and then branch off of that. Done.
yeah.
So I get it.
So yeah, I don't have much else to say about this film. I mean, I know it's a short review. I mean, Robert, what else? After you watch Robert Loggia slurping on a meat popsicle, what else do you have to say?
There's really nothing. I mean, how much can we harp on the French chick? What's her name? Anne Parlard. How bad her acting is, how bad her accent is, the fact that she gets to narrate the whole movie. After those 3 things, you're really not left with much.
I don't think her accent's bad. She's French. It's her accent.
Dude, it's bad.
I thought it was cute. I liked it. I thought it worked.
Don't get me wrong. If she wasn't cute, it wouldn't have been as what's the word? Adorable. Yeah, or bearable. That's another word. But no, I'm a big fan of La Femme Nikita, so she gets a pass because of that. But her accent's the worst. It's the fucking worst.
I totally agree with you. Yeah,
but I think that's part of the film's charm, though, is her horrible accent. A little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's still awful.
It didn't bother me. It bothered me in the voiceover, the narration didn't bother me.
You know what I found? You know what I found interesting? Take the French accent, slow it down with lots of bass. Sounds just like Down syndrome.
Wow. Okay. I'm just gonna skip right past that.
But it's the truth.
The only other thing that I really noticed about the film, as far as special effects goes, was every now and then they would show them with these like glow in the dark sclera lenses, or
Yeah.
lenses over their own eyes, and every now and then you'd have a shot where you could tell they were doing it like multiple takes, and they were getting irritable because one of the lenses would be off kilter.
Oh, right.
Like they'd be pointing a little bit off, and you're like, they're like, yeah, like Loggia's like, you better take this fucking take because these things are killing me.
Yeah, these things are killing me. Come on, John, let's go. Can we move this scene along? The man growls. The man fucking growls. And if no one heard last week's episode, the reason I challenged this to Scott was because the one husband in Loverboy, which was Scott's challenge to me, he's doing his best Robert Loggia impersonation through that entire film. And it just made me think of Robert Loggia the whole movie. And I knew Halloween was coming, so this film just popped into my head, and I said, well, that's the connection.
What you're doing is just like when he's in the basement with Don Rickles, like, there's no blood. You hit me pretty hard, but there's no blood.
Yeah, Don Rickles, he's like, come on, you're indoors. You're in a better place. There's no blood. You hit me pretty hard.
All right, I got a new rule. Every time you do a Loggia impression, you owe me one Taylor Kitsch.
No, okay, then that's it. I'm done with Robert Loggia, you bastard.
You still owe me a Taylor Kitsch. Because I can't do anything, so it's unfair that you hold back on the Taylor Kitsch for me.
I will get you that burrito.
See, I talked over it, so that doesn't count.
Then it doesn't matter. That's your problem, not mine.
Oh no, now you're not being nice. Yeah, I mean, other than that, it was a cute little movie. It's definitely, I could see it. I could see someone making something similar direct to video now. Although the direct to video stuff now tends to be a lot bloodier, like that. I think there's not blood sucking freaks, but something along that line. There's one out now.
Is it Blood Sucking Bastards?
That's it, Blood Sucking Bastards.
Okay.
Which is again, low budget vampire film, but now they just tend to go extra gruesome, like Cooties, which is another not vampires, but another low budget horror film just came out that's hilarious.
Yeah, I have it. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's worth it. That's a fun one. Yeah, it's just fun. Just fun. And I think that's what I respect sometimes with some of these films where you can tell they're just trying to have fun and they're not trying to go too off base.
Well, that film was actually...
Landis plays it like... What?
No, I was going to say Cooties was actually made last year, but it's being released now, and I have a feeling because it takes place in a kid's grammar school. I have a feeling they had a bit of a problem with that because of the whole Sandy Hook thing. That's my guess.
Any of them, so
No, but it does involve children who have cooties, and yeah, I'm pretty sure they were a little sensitive a year ago.
I don't know about that. I mean, last year? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I don't think so either. But that's not what I'm saying.
But I don't think it would have been. Is what I'm saying. Well, I know what I think. I'm saying I don't think that would have been a major
whenever reason. I see
sometimes it just takes a while to get distribution. We're not talking like it was on the shelf for 3 years. It was just like, okay, they made it last year, it didn't get out till this year. It happens. Things get bumped.
It does happen. But maybe we'll do a little homework and find out for real.
Yeah, I'm right out of that. It's
Dick. What? I'm sorry.
It's just the film has fun with it, and Landis plays it serious as far as setting up the horror tone, and doesn't go schlocky, doesn't go campy, but he makes room for the fun, the humor, and doesn't take it too seriously. And I think it's like he strikes that chord perfectly in this film. I think it's a great horror comedy because I think horror comedies are one of the hardest things to do, and I think this one, again, for the time period, is makes the mark.
What did he do after this?
After this, I just had it up and I moved away.
I have it up now
because I was looking at the god awful movie posters. I love the fact that they changed the international title to A French Vampire in America without telling him.
Oh.
And then screwed everything up when they're trying to promote the movie.
Right. Well, I will say this. He's done some pretty fun stuff after he killed people in Twilight Zone. He didn't make a movie for 2 years. After that, I mean, it makes sense because, obviously, I'm sure that was in litigation from the second it happened. But he did, the very next thing he did is one of my actual favorite films with Jeff Goldblum is Into the Night with Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I really liked that as a kid. I have not watched it as an adult.
I tried to get a copy, and I could. The copy I got was no good, so I have to try again.
I have an HD copy. I'll get it to you.
Okay.
Then he did Spies Like Us, also like that. The abominable, but the reason why it's fun, Three Amigos.
Doctor. And Doctor. Oh, Three Amigos I actually just rewatched a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That film is just, look up here. That movie's timeless.
Farley.
You tell me one person that doesn't know who El Guapo is. That film is just
yeah. Would
eternal.
you say I have a plethora?
No, best one is the are the gringos falling out of the sky? Yes, El Guapo.
Then he did Coming to America. Then he actually did Oscar, the one with Sylvester Stallone, where it's a bunch of gangsters going legit.
Like that one.
I do like that one. My wife loves that one. It's the only reason why I have it. I could live without it, but she just, really pressed me. She wanted it.
Yeah, I've never seen
And then he went from there. He did Innocent Blood. He did the black and white video with Michael Jackson. Then Beverly Hills Cop. How does it drop from Oscar and Innocent Blood to Beverly Hills Cop 3? Because his career just fell off the planet literally after Innocent Blood. Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Before that.
The Stupids.
Well, The Stupids did not do well, obviously.
Blues Brothers 2000. What the fuck was he thinking with that? I mean, did Dan Aykroyd just press him till he made the movie?
Well, Dan Aykroyd, I'm just going off of what I've read and what I've seen, so who knows if it's real. But all I know is that, after John Belushi died, I read accounts of where he said there'll never be a Blues Brothers sequel because, both of us aren't here anymore. And then next thing you know, oh, by the way, we're doing a sequel.
Well, next thing you know, you mean 18 years.
It still counts. Don't minimize the fact that he went back on talking about his dead friend, saying I can never do that without him, and then but you know what? Now I can.
Yeah, listen, the man killed people. They said, listen, you want to make another movie? Yes, you're making this one. Okay. I mean, that's probably how that conversation went. All right. If he didn't kill people, Blues Brothers 2000 probably would have never happened. He would have had a little bit more weight. Then after that, yeah, but then after that, I mean,
I'm thinking, who the fuck did Dan Aykroyd kill? What is he talking about?
Whenever I mention anyone killing anyone on the set of a movie, I'm always talking about John Landis.
All right, it just threw me off there. I was like,
but anyway, yeah, after Blues Brothers 2000, he did a movie called Susan's Plan, which I've never fucking heard of. And then a movie called Burke and Hare, which came out 5 years ago. And that's
Burke and Hare's good.
It's the last thing he directed.
Simon Pegg's in it. Yeah,
Simon Pegg and Andy Serkis.
Yeah, that's a retelling of the Burke and Hare, the one Lugosi film I reviewed in my book, performed by Lugosi. Looking for it at Amazon.com. Called the Body Snatcher. It's about those two characters who were killing people and selling their bodies to medical schools for cadavers, for for fucking medical students to cut up.
Cool.
And it was it was a huge. They were hung. There was hangings for it, and that was one of the things that really cracked down on them buying dead bodies from people. So, it's been made into countless movies, different variations of it, and that one was one that was most recent, and it's a good one. I recommend it.
Really? All right, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and actually, it's probably the and that's a dark comedy. I would say in line with at least as far as morbidness, more morbid than Innocent Blood.
Well, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, but I mean the humor. I'm saying besides the fact they're using dead bodies, the extent to which the humor involves corpses, a little dark.
Speaking of dark comedies, I just watched The Voices recently.
Yes, and what'd you think about that?
I liked it.
Anyway, all I'm saying is that the IMDb things are hilarious. I love reading them afterwards. And you also can't trust the IMDb. Did I mention that specifically for Blood of Innocence? No, there wasn't anything. But
Blood
one
of
thing,
Innocence.
the trivia.
Is that a new movie?
Innocent of Blood. You shut up.
Innocent of Blood?
You know what I mean. Shut up.
Hold on. There's a scene right here. Like if we were MST3King this scene, when she jumps on him, or she jumps out and she screams, and he's like, "Ah!" And then she runs and jumps off the roof and does one of those, she just jumps like a gymnast off the roof. Mm-hmm. I imagine that scene with her jumping off, just going, "Whee!" like right off the top.
I would too.
Anyway, continue.
Every now and then, I don't trust the trivia on IMDb because they don't vet it. They just post it. And then they let people rate on whether it's interesting or not. And they should have the meter says, is this bullshit or not? One person specifically mentions that a theater in the area where they were filming changed their marquee to "See You Next Wednesday," which is the gag movie that Landis puts in all of his films. Okay. And then it says, this marquee was changed but does not appear in the film. And I'll be a motherfucker. I read that. It's like, oh, okay. And then, bright as day, and in the third act, when they go to the strip club, right behind them, "See you next Wednesday" on the marquee, right behind them. Who wrote it? Because they didn't watch the film. Because it's staring me right in the face.
They probably just read that from somewhere else and posted it.
Yeah, it's like they cut it from somewhere else. They haven't watched the film.
Is there a whole thing behind the whole "See You Next Wednesday"?
I don't know. It's a gag thing. I never read into it. I just know it always appears in his films.
Because I prefer "See You Next Tuesday." I think that's much funnier.
But it is "See You Next Wednesday," right? You're not correcting me.
I have no idea.
No,
I just know that I like "See You Next Tuesday" better.
Why? Well, no. Wednesday has a better ring to it. "See you next Wednesday." Because you already have a T there. Next Tuesday, you're interrupting the flow. Next Wednesday.
You can in your spare time look up "See You Next Tuesday."
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you will when you finally look it up in your spare time.
You're killing me. You're fucking killing me.
So anyway, all right. So while Scott's doing that, what he's challenged me to, with a Halloween connection, is next week we're going to review the film The Visit, directed by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Oh, I get it.
My personal favorite.
Dirty pool, man.
Hey. Yeah.
But I've got nothing else. You got anything else about?
Nah.
We should rate that real quick.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
I forgot all about that. We got sidetracked. Hey, while I'm looking that up, any other vampire films that you want to list as far as like vampire films you liked?
I mean, I guess you really can't. I like Vampire's Kiss with Nicolas Cage, even though that's again your traditional. It's not. It's not at all.
What do you want to rate this? 5?
Yeah, it's average.
All right, yeah, I'm rating it 5. I'm not even going to go crazy with. I'll take a peek at the demographics, but I'm not going to go into it unless anything wacky. It's across the board 6.5. Who gives a shit?
It's a 6.5 for real.
What? 6.2.
Wow, it's kind of high.
Yeah, all the demographics are between 5 and 6. Nothing crazy there. 3 IMDb staff rated it an average of 6.
Oh, really?
So good for them.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here. I'm tired.
Huh? What? All right, sorry.
It's okay.
So next week we're doing The Visit.
We're doing The Visit next week, which is October, unless the apocalypse happens with this new hurricane that they keep talking about.
Tropical storm.
Yeah, they're already talking about it veering off into the ocean. So, I don't know. You know what? They're trying to sell generate. You know what? This is a different podcast altogether.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for episode 185 of Moviesucktastic, where we just reviewed Innocent Blood from 1992 with Robert Loggia. Go to our website at moviesucktastic.com. You can listen to the show live there every Thursday at 8 o'clock. You can download the show, or you can listen to the show from the Moviesucktastic podcast player that we have. You go to iTunes, and you can download the show there as well. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. Go to our Tumblr page at moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, it's 908-514-4470. 908-514-4470. If you want to leave us email, the address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. Don't forget to download the free Android app for your phone or tablet. 100% free. Everything I just mentioned is in one nice, tidy little package in the app. And that about does it. Yeah, we're 15 episodes away from our 200th. We should do something. I don't know what we're gonna do, but
if we doubled up on some episodes, we could make that by the end of the year.
Well, it's 15 episodes away on average. That should take 4 months.
So if we double up on some episodes, we might be able to make it by the new year.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't see that happening.
Okay.
Because it's the holidays.
We've already failed. All right, you're right.
I do see us hitting that mark well before the 4-month mark, though, just because of all of the episodes we do when we do the Oscar films. When we
and
review
January.
them.
And January. We have to go strong on January this year.
I agree. Definitely. All right. You got any wisdom for us?
I can't do Loggia, so no.
When you get made by me, nobody can touch ya.
And Taylor Kitsch. Do Taylor Kitsch.
I'm gonna die. You're gonna die. We're all gonna die. But not today. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.